Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the DoubleClutch.ca podcast. I'm your host, Nick, managing editor of DoubleClutch.ca magazine, and I'm joined in studio by Nathan.
Hey guys, we found Imran.
What? You ruined my bit again. I had this whole thing planned. I was like, oh my god, we have a surprise this week. Imran's here. Well, thanks for ruining it.
But we found him.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
we have an Imran this week.
I'm glad to be back. I feel like it's my calling card to take these giant hiatuses. Nathan was saying how I should pretty much go over the spring season of vehicles that I
Basically.
I can straight up go upstairs and get lunch and let you talk for now, and I'll come back and sign us off.
Yeah, because there's been a lot, but we'll stick to the more recent stuff.
All right. Okay, so for this week's episode, we have a moderate amount of cool stuff. Well, actually, just really one cool thing set up this week. So we'll be talking about the 2025 Mercedes-AMG GLC 63. It is a S.
E-Performance.
E-Performance.
Turbo.
4MATIC.
For men.
It's not the 4MATIC Plus?
Oh, I think it is actually.
Is it?
Yeah, it is
Okay.
4MATIC Plus. Yeah.
Gotta get the full name. And we're also in the, Imran's also in the 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe Hybrid this week, which I'm actually kind of jealous about, believe it or not, because the Santa Fe is really fucking good. And I've sung his praises a lot.
Like 100 times. We get it. You like the Santa Fe.
It's really good, though.
It is, and like when you mentioned we only have one cool thing this week, it's like cool. Obviously, that AMG is cool, but this Santa Fe is a good product.
It actually is.
Like, it's. I was telling Nick off mic that if you close your eyes, like the ride quality is so good in this thing. It would feel like you're in like an entry level luxury vehicle. It's quiet, it's smooth. It's not all that powerful, but it also doesn't feel asthmatic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain this, but they've done a really good job of masking the fact that it's kind of slow, but you don't feel like it's slow.
And this is the base-ish, but it's a steal of a deal. But we'll get into all that later. And once we knock those out, we'll also be going over some of Imran's press cars over the last couple of weeks or so that we missed. So that should be neat.
All right, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Nathan, what are you in this week?
I can't remember.
Okay. Imran, what are you in this week?
What did you say it was called?
Oh, are we really going to go over that name again? We're going to run out of time.
It is the 2024 Mercedes-AMG. God damn, I was going to say GT63.
It's also 25.
Wait, 25?
Anyway, I'm in a 25 Mercedes
Product.
GLC 63 S. Context for my mom. This is actually very important. Mm-hmm. So traditionally, the Mercedes-AMG 63 models, whether it be C, S, E, the SUVs, whatever, have all been powered by a hand-built, angry, stonking V8. Mm-hmm. And the C63, which is the small compact sedan version of this thing, bowed last year, 2 years ago, with a new plug-in hybrid powertrain that abandoned the old V8 in favor of the world's angriest four-cylinder and an electric hybrid assist.
Yep.
Right.
And everybody hates it. And Mercedes can't give these things away. And this year, they've transferred that powertrain over to the GLC, the compact SUV, which is more or less the same platform, just SUV-shaped. Mm-hmm. And I came into this thinking like, okay, everyone already hates these because they dumped Mercedes' best product, that super charismatic V8. We all love that engine. Mm-hmm. It's a great engine. And they've dumped it for another generic turbo, 2-liter, 4-cylinder, 4-popper, whatever setup like everyone else on earth is doing. Mm-hmm. And the whole point of that car was the charisma of the V8, and they've dumped it. And I'm here to say it's actually pretty good.
I think
it's really missing the V8. Like, but if you were deaf, you wouldn't notice. It's really good. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Nick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, when Nathan pulled up today, he's like, let's go for a spin. I'm not going to say anything until we're back and parked. I came here to hate, but I don't.
So I didn't think of it when I grabbed the keys and went for a drive at all. Like I was blank. Was been thinking of something else. Same thing. I came back actually rather impressed. And I know we've kind of like harped on Mercedes quality here and there. I even felt like the interior was a lot more screwed and glued together than some of the other products that we've had recently. But from a powertrain perspective, like I thought it was fine.
Like it's really a pretty impressive achievement what they pulled off.
What's the power figures?
671 horsepower and 752 foot-pounds of torque.
Definitely not slow.
Definitely not slow. Way more power than the old V8 made. Again, this is not to sound like a goon who's like, oh, bro, it's so fast. It's 5 million horsepower. Getting 0 to 60 in like fucking infinity. I don't care about that. You guys know I don't care about that. I'd rather have the V8 for the charisma factor. But this is fucking pretty impressive tech. I actually really want to put this thing on a hoist later and actually like peek at what they've done, because like I'm curious to see the mad scientist like ridiculous bumfuckery that went into this thing.
For as much flack as we give Mercedes for ditching the V8 in the 63 series AMGs, there's actually a lot of really clever, really cool engineering that goes into this 4-cylinder engine. Like the fact that they were able to squeeze in 400-ish horsepower.
It's 470 horsepower out of the engine alone, out of a 2-liter 4-popper with a 4-year, 80,000 kilometer warranty.
It's almost 500 horsepower, dude, on a 4-cylinder engine.
How much boost is it running?
It sure does, buddy.
Like all of it.
All of it.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Mercedes, like they had in their CLA 45, it was like the highest output out of a 2-liter turbo, I think. So this is more.
And now it's higher, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, when it first came out in like 2015, 2016, they're like, oh my god, it's 375 horsepower, which even back then was like, wow, okay. And now they managed to find 100 more.
Yep, a lot more boost. A lot more boost, and then a lot of the power comes from the electric hybrid drive system. I was just looking at figures. I couldn't find anything hard before we started, but I think it's like another 180-ish horsepower and a lot more torque from the electric system.
And it's pretty seamless. Like I find it's pretty smooth, and it's weird. It's so also it's a plug-in hybrid.
It is a plug-in hybrid with a very itty bitty fun size battery for the kids.
Like 6 kilowatt hours or something.
Yeah.
I just looked this up. It's roughly the same size as the battery pack in the 2024 Mercedes-AMG GT663 SE Performance 4-door coupe.
I'm going upstairs to get my lunch.
But yeah, it feels like a very well programmed powertrain.
Yeah. And I think that's the one thing that struck me about like hopping from the GLC 43 that we had in November-ish into the 63. I almost find this one to be more refined, a little smoother, a little more refined.
I figured I shouldn't actually go get my damn lunch. It's impressively refined.
Yeah.
Because when we had...
Agreed.
I think it was 2 years ago, we had the 23 C43.
Yep.
And that's like similar idea, not nearly as hardcore, but like same base engine and a rough e-performance hybrid thing going on with it. I think it was awful.
I remember that
awful.
thing. Yeah, I did not like it. I felt like it was clunky. It felt fake. It
was clunky. The trans just felt broken.
Yeah.
I remember. It was really not good.
The GLC 43, the GLC 43 was like this. Not as, and I also distinctly recall that C43. The GLC 43 wasn't, I found they smoothed out a good chunk of those kinks with the GLC 43, but I'm not getting any of that clunkiness in the 63. Even in like comfort mode, it's default most relaxed setting. Floor it, it's good to go like right away.
Yeah,
and it goes.
I guess this is the fully baked version of the powertrain.
Yeah.
Funny, did you notice that there's an electric only drive?
Yeah, for like, what, 2 kilometers?
Drive mode for like, all of 4 kilometers?
I think it's got to be like 10 or 15 or something.
I think it is 10 or
on a
15.
full charge, but it's just for like
creeping out of a parking garage.
I'm more thinking like European like congestion zones.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you think
To avoid those taxes and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's only like a 6.5 kilowatt hour. Same battery size as the GT63. And that one had like no range. I think the most I got out of that in November was like 18 kilometers.
Yeah, it's a token technicality thing. It's more meant for emissions compliance and then enhancing performance rather than like actually commuting on electric power.
Yeah. I found it so odd that it was a plug-in, and we looked it up on a level 2 charger. It would take an hour.
Yeah.
It's fun size.
Like an hour and a half. Like,
yeah, you could probably put it into like 110, like a household outlet, and be ready to go in like 4 hours.
Yeah. I find it funny that it doesn't have, or at least as far as I can find in its myriad of menus, I can't find an onboard charging mode. There's a battery hold mode, which will keep the charge about where it is.
Yeah.
But unlike, say, the BMWs, where like I can set it to just charge itself. Use the gas engine, fill the battery.
Yeah.
I can't do that here.
Oh, you mean like essentially like disconnect the gas engine from from powering at all and just the other way around?
Yeah.
And just have it fully charge the battery back up?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that either.
Yeah.
But probably because it's so small that I literally I drove it for like 10 minutes and it went from 30 to 50% charge. No joke.
You mean the other way?
No, it went up and then it went down.
I
did some testing.
Yeah.
But
I think we all did.
It charged, like I felt like if I drove for another 15 minutes, I'd be at 100%. Like,
see, that's not what I saw yesterday. I left it running yesterday while I was shooting it. I logged it in sport mode just to keep the engine running, try and top up the battery.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't.
Oh.
Yeah. Whereas like the M5 would do that. So I don't know.
No, because I even saw it at partial throttle. It was showing that it was charging.
That's very weird.
Yeah.
Even
I have to explore this more.
Even a partial throttle charges?
which is what I found odd.
That.
The weird, and it must have been the engine that's charging it, because if I came off the throttle, it was showing not charging.
I wonder if it sees a threshold, then it starts charging. Because like I noticed there's a little like arrow on the battery gauge at 25%. I wonder if it sees that, then it starts diverting power.
Maybe you need to be more traffic.
Probably that too. Who knows? Whatever.
Anyway,
it also rides really well.
Yeah,
It rides really well, like shockingly well.
Yeah,
better than the regular little GLC 350 hybrid we had.
Yeah, much better than and also much better than the GLC 43.
Which is amazing, given that it's on. Oh, you know what? I bet it could be because it's on. This one's on like very fancy. It's like a $3,500 option. It's on forged rims.
Is it really?
Yeah, reduced unsprung weight.
All right,
maybe.
That could be it.
It'll probably help. I don't know. Either way, like it's shockingly good at like most things.
Yeah, that's something I noticed as well. And sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I wasn't expecting such a difference in ride quality between this thing and the 43.
Yeah, it handles really well too. Like turns in really nicely.
Yeah,
good balance. Like it's actually shockingly good.
Yeah, I have not much bad to say about it, but maybe our perspectives will be skewed with price.
I do have one negative. Minor negative, but a negative nonetheless. This thing is a bullet off the line.
Yeah.
It's like it launches ridiculously quick. And it's also the problem with bullets is that they're really fast when they leave the gun and then they fall out of the air. On the highway, when you try punching it on the highway, don't get me wrong, it's still fast, but you can tell that, there's less engine here. Now I'm leaning, because the electric power that does so much heavy lifting at low speeds in any vehicle, not just this, falls off. So it's kind of like
still suffers from that same the
Mach-E,
is notorious for this.
Oh yeah, where ridiculously quick at low speeds. That you say you're doing 120 on the highway and you punch it.
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong, it moves, but it's not the same you get on the highway.
It's not the 600 plus and 700 plus pound-feet of torque feeling.
Yeah, that you were feeling
Yeah.
a minute ago.
Okay. That's a little disappointing. I mean, I only used like the first half of the speedometer. I didn't go on the highway, so...
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those, like, it's a critique you have to dig for, but it's there.
Yeah.
And it's something that, like, proponents of the V8 will throw at it. Because, like, the V8 doesn't run out of breath.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, price.
109 to start, 138 as tested.
It's not cheap.
Nope.
Well, like, what's its nearest competitor? Yeah.
Right now, there is nothing that I can think of because, like, in the realm of ridiculously fast compact SUVs, this is is that?
No, they still sell the gasser alongside the electric, so that should still be around the GTS.
Should still be around the GTS, and that's one of those tricky things where I got to look this up.
This thing would be way quicker.
Way quicker.
Yeah,
this would have like hundreds more horsepower and torques.
But like at the same time, the SQ5 doesn't compete with this.
No, not at all. The X3M is close. Like the X3M is closer to a Macan GTS.
Well,
right.
The X3 M50 is like
Sorry, that's what I mean.
it's close-ish, but it's like
that'd be more of a GLC 43 competitor.
That'd be closer to it, yeah. Like the BMW doesn't make it yet because the X3 is so new. They don't make an X3M competition yet. That would be the closest competitor to this when it shows up, but it's not here.
But the F-Type F-Pace SVR, but that's still a pretty big cost savings too. That's like 110 as tested.
Yeah, but that's a midsize.
It's kind of an in-betweener.
It's a small midsize, but it's definitely like an X5 size thing. It's a midsize. This is itty bitty.
The Stelvio Quad, that's another one in my mind. But again, that's they don't make that anymore.
And that was in and around $100,000. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well?
Again, So it's like 40 grand less.
Yeah.
Masterpiece of an engine, mind you, but also 40 grand
So
less.
what if?
Okay, you're kind of right. You're kind of right with the F-Pace. You're right. It is on the smaller side of the spectrum. The Macan GTS is 434 horsepower. It's down 250.
Wow, that's
plus no EV torque.
Plus no EV torque.
yeah.
Would probably end up being about as fast in reality.
What about the monies?
I don't know. I'm looking at US to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Let me just double check really fast.
But it sounds like there is no direct competitor.
Not yet, at least.
What about an X5M? Like, what does that come in at? I know it's not the same thing, but we all love that product.
Mm-hmm. And that starts at, for the 24, it'll be up a little bit this year, starts at 142.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The one I had was like 160-ish as tested.
So this occupies a nice little space then.
And again, like Mercedes will say like, but this GLC has more power.
Right.
Than the bigger V8 X5M. Does it feel like it? I'm not sure, but it has more. But that's okay. Can we have a little rant about power ratings?
No.
Because they don't make any sense anymore. Nothing makes any sense. Nothing means anything. The figures are all made up and the points don't matter.
Yeah, it's like the 1 + 2 = 5.
Yeah.
Like
it's like,
I mean, we're probably just not technically inclined enough to understand some of those hybrid metrics, but
well, because like BMW and Porsche are notorious for being extremely pessimistic when advertising power figures for their cars. Mm-hmm. That's like if they say an engine makes 500 horsepower, they mean it will make it on the top of Everest, running on vegetable oil with dead spark plugs. Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So there's that whole thing, and then there's EV edition on top of that, where there's like I see things like, oh, it makes this much power and it makes this much torque, but it has a 2-stage reduction gear, and that with that it makes an extra 40 foot-pounds. Like, wait, so now we're including gear reduction with torque rating? So wait, so what is it actually doing?
It's like everyone who bought into GM specs of like the Hummer having a 10,000 pound-feet of torque.
Right,
yeah.
No, it fucking doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's that whole thing too. Tesla started that whole shtick with like the
Roadster.
I think,
the
right?
Cybertruck, and then the Roadster saying they had like 80 billion foot-pounds of
Fuck
torque.
off.
Like, yeah, but like through gear reduction, technically that is correct, but that's not how we measure things. By the same metric, a Civic Si, the one that John has upstairs, has 2,000 foot-pounds of torque in first gear. Like that's.
I forgot about the Civic Si. This bullshit.
Words I've never heard.
2,000 pound
The
feet.
famously gutless wonder has 2,000
yeah.
foot-pounds of torque. Right?
Wow.
So that's not how that works, and I find it doesn't make any sense because, and this is not intended to dunk on Mercedes, but to go to the competitor of the BMW M5, which has like 5% more horsepower and 5% less torque on paper. On paper, that car feels dangerous. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculously fast, and this just feels pretty quick off the line. Where's the brake? Where's the disconnect? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it's like the added variable of the hybrid tech and sort of where and how. Like, maybe it's power curves that we have to look at.
Well, that's the thing, right? So, like, I know with this Benz, it shows 752 max combined foot-pounds of torque.
Insane.
That's fucking nuts. And I know it's making it pretty much off the line.
Right.
And it falls off after that.
Yeah.
I just feel like everything is so disconnected from reality. Like, horsepower doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree. I kind of agree with you. Like, I drove this thing without knowing what the power figures were.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have guessed that much.
Exactly. Like, we all have, like, from doing this for a couple of years now, we all have pretty well calibrated butt dynos. We know what 500 horsepower feels like.
Yeah.
This feels like about 500 horsepower.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Which again, not to say it's slow.
Yeah.
It's just
it's very quick, and like I think for especially the realistic use case of what these things are going to be, they're just going to fucking putz around town and flex and look tough, and like be quick when someone wants to be playful. Probably on the street at like not psychotic speeds. It's going to be very good at that. Like exceptionally good at that. As sort of an all-weather back road toy, it's going to be like an absolute weapon at that. But in terms of absolute measurement of capability, like, where the fuck are we? If anyone listening actually has like insight into that, how things are measured and or why, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Please email, Instagram, contact us.
That would be cool because certainly we don't know how the maths.
It's the reason why I chose to write for a living as opposed to math for a living. Would you take this over a GLC 43?
Yes. It's the same, but better.
$40,000 better? I will say this. It does seem like Mercedes actually put in a little more effort making the interior less of a penalty box, which feels very weird to say about a $100,000 plus Mercedes, but not really gonna dance around the fact that the GLC 350E and the 43 both left not the best impressions in terms of their interior quality. But this, I feel like in the 63 they put in a little more effort to.
It's the same.
But is it the two that we reviewed, the other models, were they 25s as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the same. It's the same dash layout. There's nothing different here. It's just I don't know if it's they spend a little more time on it or if there's extra padding or they just changed up some hardware. Like
they're using the AMG glue.
AMG glue, AMG screws. Like I don't know.
Sport glue.
But the sport glue makes a difference. It feels not zero, but a lot less creaky than other Benzes do.
Yeah, then that's the thing, and I don't think it's some kind of placebo or anything like that because the three of us kind of came to that conclusion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, independently of each other. Yeah,
that it's like, oh, this feels like a well put together product.
Yeah. There's been like a pretty tangible sense of, especially when dealing with Benzes, and the further up the ladder you go, the worse it gets. Of like, what the fuck are you doing, guys?
Yeah,
and until you get to the S Class. The S Class, I find slight tangent, but I find the S-Class is still, I find the S-Class still focuses a little more on that old school tank-like feel that we like about old Mercedeses.
I didn't get that as much. To an extent, but not as much. But all that to say that with this, it feels like, oh, I see what you're doing here. Right? There's no what the fuck are you doing. I see what you're doing. It's interesting. I don't know how much I love it, but I appreciate it. It's very effective.
I mean, maybe it's just one of those under the radar, like production updates that we don't know about, that where they are actually, I know we were saying it as jokingly, but using better glues and better screws, or
maybe, a
couple extra weld points or whatever that we don't know about.
It's one of the few press cars we've had where I'm like genuinely mechanically curious about it. Like I'm going to spend some time like just looking under it.
Which is very. I was not expecting that out of this ostensibly new Mercedes. It's a brand new Mercedes. So we're like programmed to like hate on these things, by
they can't they cannot give C63s away. Like they are not selling,
and it's the same powertrain.
And like.
It's not I mean, it's the same bones. It's definitely different programming.
I haven't driven a C63. I don't think it's been long on the fleet, so
we can't. Because those are bad.
I'm thinking
because the 43 came out, and it was, again, same platform, similar powertrain.
Yeah.
And everybody hated it.
Yeah.
Because it was bad. And like, I have no bones saying that. It was like the most disappointing car we had that year. It was bad. They fucking really turned it around.
Yeah.
Yeah, good on them.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the better value play would probably be a GLC 43. Just because there's like a like to me, because the gas end of the powertrain feels so similar.
Yeah.
Like they're both fucking fast. The GLC 63 for what, like $40,000 more, you get barely any more electric range. You get the privilege of bumping the carpool lane solo, and you get a fair bit of...
You get way more power. You get way more performance if you actually intend to use it.
Right, but as we said, unless you're like shooting off the line, it doesn't actually feel that quick.
It doesn't. Well, it's
at least as quick as 700 horsepower suggests.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, it sounds the same-ish. It feels the same-ish. Like, that's why I came into the office and threw the keys at you, because I wanted your opinion. Like, how similar does this feel to the 43?
Yeah. Because
the 63's differentiation was its V8, and now it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious to pick your brain about that. It's just the same but more.
40 grand more is the question, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot of money.
It really is when you think about it.
Yeah, that's tough. And like you said, Nathan, like not having the V8 differentiator, like that makes it a lot tougher in terms of differentiating, right? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see how this thing sells.
Speaking of things that cost a lot of money, Imran, you're in something that doesn't cost a lot of money.
That costs almost as much as the delta between a 43 and a 63.
You know what? That's it. That's the game. I want the GLC 43 as the quote-unquote fun toy and a fucking Santa Fe Hybrid.
Santa Fe preferred in hybrid, yeah.
With the price difference.
But are you getting a GLC 43 over an X3M 50?
No.
Nope.
No.
Dingo.
You're also saving money with that X3M, but yeah, we won't go there.
You're saving more money.
Yeah.
I can get an Ultimate now. Ooh, instead of the preferred with the luxury package. Anyway.
Well, there you go, yeah. But yeah, switching gears to something a little more mainstream, a little more affordable. It's the new Hyundai Santa Fe. It's the first time I'm driving it. I think, Nick, you were on like the launch.
Yeah.
Right?
Didn't you have one?
No, we were supposed to have one a couple months back, but it was a rebooking.
I thought we had like 20 of these. I feel like we've talked about this thing like a million times.
We might have, and I'll keep it short only because
you've driven so much in the last couple of months, so we have to like
talk
about that shit.
Yeah, and I have to separate my thoughts, but honestly, it's a great product.
Yeah,
it really is. When this thing was first released, it had a very striking appearance that definitely caught everyone's attention. Yes, it was a little derivative of some other brands. But
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, nonetheless, it's a good looking product, right? Except for maybe from the rear view. I still find those tail lamp placement really weird. But
You're allowed to be wrong. It's fine.
I see his point. It does look a little
like chunky, like they're in the wrong place.
I was going to say bussy.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
Bussy.
So 2-1. You're wrong, man.
I'll just go eat.
I like it. I think it works, but I see it. It definitely looks a little bussy. Like I could shoot that in a way that makes it look like a bus. I'm actually curious about that now. Can I borrow the keys for a bit?
Perfect.
Well, so you could do that. You could set it up like park it in front of a bus and have the bus like 20 feet further down, so they look about the same size.
So now,
Yo, give me the keys.
That's the expectation. Yeah, when the written article comes out, that photo needs to be there.
So that's your task. You know how you did that sick shot with the Carnival Hybrid?
Carnival, yeah.
You got to do that. You got to do that with this bus.
Gotta head back to that school. But yeah, like visually, it's they knocked it out of the park. On the outside, on the inside, it is a little Range Rover-y. In look, in feel, and this is where I'll say it's a little bit of the I guess the weakness is that there is some very cheap feeling plastic. It all looks good though, and Hyundai generally does a good job of it's plastic you can see, but not necessarily that you'll interact with. But I think it's sort of claim to fame is when you get moving. It's a puny little 1.6 liter engine with a hybrid, which you don't expect in a 7-passenger SUV.
Like it sounds wrong.
Yeah, very much so.
But it works.
It works. It works really well. Like it's more than you need to haul your family around. You're great with it. I haven't had it for long enough to really speak on fuel economy. But I'm sure it'll be great. But its suspension also is very well tuned to where it doesn't feel boaty, but it feels rather supple. So it's got this kind of softness to it when it first kind of hits a bump, but then it settles very quickly, which it's just a very competent ride. And yeah, like I haven't found much to hate about this thing.
Yeah. Yet. Like the fact that this is a 3-row hybrid mainstream crossover, that's starts at under 50 grand for this one. I was looking at the spec sheet that they sent over. I think it's
42.5 is what it starts at.
Yeah. That's nuts.
42.5.
That's drunk.
That's insane. I mean, we thought not to go off on a tangent, but like when the Ioniq 9 pricing just came out, we were also like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
you can't do that, sir.
So Hyundai is operating in like pre-COVID era, I guess. Like, thank you, because I think we can, as consumers, we can use that. But yeah, it's a lot of vehicle.
Absolutely.
Like, what are you getting in that price range for like a 7-passenger?
The only thing that I can think of at that price point, mind you, is the Highlander Hybrid. But that's pretty dated at this point, and the 3-row and the 3rd row in the
pretty useless.
It's fucking useless.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring the Highlander into this competition. The first thing that I think of, not a 3-row, but like roughly similar size, is the Subaru Outback.
Yeah.
I do mean rough.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is.
Are they actually like close in size?
I think so.
Really?
The Santa Fe is a little bigger, but doesn't not a ton. Like it's not big.
Yeah, the price spread that it covers there's definitely a more overlap than I originally would have expected between this and the Outback, price wise at least.
I feel like this feels like a little bit of a cut above. Maybe just because it's more modern styling.
Yeah.
Subaru styling has been pretty similar over the last few years. So the Outback, even though I think it was refreshed this year, it still feels a little bit of the same, whereas this thing feels just like fresh, right? Yeah. Still.
There's a new Outback coming, which is even bigger than before. So that one will. Don't ask me about the exact like dimensions and specs with that thing, but that one, because it's bigger, it makes sense that it will be more Santa Fe sized. I don't think it's not 3-row yet.
And then even the Outback though, it's not hybrid.
No.
I think they're saying at some point we are going to get a hybrid.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're talking price point,
not at launch.
Like I think today's Outback price is around the same thing. I think
thereabouts, yeah.
And you're not getting that hybrid powertrain.
Yeah.
So
if the Forester with the hybrid powertrain is about 60, so it's about 50. So I feel like if I were a betting man, I'd probably say when we eventually do get a hybrid Outback, that'll probably be pushing like 50, 55. So again, it would be a similar spread in theory.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to beat the value. It's and like I said, it's sharp looking. Our tester is like a gray on gray, which is kind of
little uninspired.
I actually have a friend who has like the non-hybrid, but it's white on. They have like a green interior.
Yes, they do.
That?
Yeah,
I've seen that.
It actually looks
pretty nice.
I actually like it. Like I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Like especially to see in a more mainstream vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Like you see funky colors and
I think
uber expensive things.
I think that's what still really strikes me. It still sticks with me about the Santa Fe is that like the fact that this is a mainstream 3-row SUV that not normal people, that most consumers buy. The fact that it looks like a Defender, an SUV that costs like at double the price, and actually has some really clever design treatments built into it, like the colorways, like the styling overall. The fact that they put so much effort into a mainstream 3-row SUV that most people that most people buy is just it's astounding to me.
So and I think that's the cool part, right? And Hyundai like builds for the masses, but gives us often more than what we expect, right? Like I think of the Elantra N, and some of their other products. Like there still is to this date so much value in a lot of Hyundai products, and the Santa Fe definitely lives that mantra. But yeah, like great product. I mean, I just picked it up last week, so I don't have any more notes. Yesterday. So yeah, not a lot more notes on it right now, but I'm looking forward to the rest of the week with it because my prediction is that I will thoroughly enjoy this thing.
A little jealous.
Yeah,
a little jealous.
Yeah, I know you wanted it.
I kind of did. So we initially had this like the same week as the M5 Touring in April, but Hyundai had to bump our booking. I was like, oh God, I guess I could have taken this after all because I really wanted it.
Yeah, it's funny.
But I'm not jealous. You're jealous.
Us auto journalists fawn over the weirdest stuff.
Yeah, we're a weird bunch. Okay, so we have 15-ish, 20 minutes left. Oh God!
So I got two other things I kind of want to talk about.
You do,
and I'll get through them within the 15 minutes because both of them were disappointing. Might be the wrong word, but they didn't live up to the excitement perhaps I would have had for them. One being the Escalade, and being a newly 40-year-old, definitely millennial.
Happy birthday, dude. Happy belated.
Thank you.
That was your birthday press car. You're welcome.
Yeah, that's right. And the Escalade was like the celebrity car of the 2000s. It was in every music video. It was
the Need for Speed games.
Yeah.
It was an underground too. You can pimp out an Escalade with
Escalade,
like slam and put massive fucking spinners on it.
It was a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like it was rapped about. It was in lyrics.
Yep.
Right? Like it was
My Escalade
everywhere.
is best behaved.
Yeah. Exactly, right? And it's like I can't think of another car that had like that type of glow up in like the media industry. So, I've never really been an SUV guy, but it was like if I'm thinking SUV, I'm thinking of an Escalade, right? And then most recently, last year, I had driven the Yukon Denali. Mm-hmm. This was like my first foray into GM's sort of full-size
And we all
SUVs.
basically like their big body-on-frame three-row trucks.
The Yukon Denali is the unofficial favorite vehicle of Double Clutch.
Oh, yeah.
We all like them.
And that's like, still feels weird for me to say it. Mm-hmm. Like I thought it was a fantastic product. And I got nothing against GM. I'm not saying anything like that, but I did not expect to like a body-on-frame giant SUV.
Yeah, and you were clear about that. Yeah. Like when you had it, you said like, I have some negative connotations in my head from GM growing up.
Yeah.
And also I don't care about trucks, and this thing is the biggest, truckiest truck.
Yeah, and it was
I'm not supposed to like it.
Phenomenal.
And it won you.
Mm-hmm. Phenomenal.
So it's kind of surprising that like the Escalade didn't leave that big an impression on you.
So I don't know how to explain this, but first off, design is subjective. Mm-hmm. I think the Yukon Denali kind of nails it. The Escalade is a good-looking truck. It's imposing, but I don't feel like it has that same level of presence as perhaps I felt like some of the last generations have, or maybe I'm just looking at the past through rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
And then also, I just didn't see the real leap from a Yukon Denali. I don't remember what that Denali was priced at, but this thing's in and around just over 150K.
My last one was 125, and it wasn't even a Denali.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, yours was the 84 Ultimate.
It was the 84 Ultimate, so it's like
is-
I think there's like 5 or 10 grand more to go to get to like the tippity top of Mount Denali.
Yeah, I think that so the big thing I think first off is I expected better ride quality. So maybe it's on account of the 24-inch wheels.
Hell yeah, brother.
And again, these were rapped about. Like,
they were.
They were like 24s were like, oh, like those are like.
They didn't rap about the ride quality.
Yeah. But yeah, the ride quality wasn't great. I remember thinking the Yukon rode better. And I think it's because it didn't have 24s. That's probably why.
Yeah, but dog. Yo, you seen the 24s on that bitch?
But yeah, so it's just like, I guess I'm not cool enough to want 24s anymore. Yeah. So I think it had a negative effect on the ride quality. Mm-hmm. Whereas the Yukon Denali I felt was like this rides nice. It even handled quite well. I even think from a handling perspective, the Denali felt a little more composed than the Escalade. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a weight thing. I haven't looked into that. Interior wise, the one thing the Escalade does well is there's a lot of tech, right? Yep. And if you define luxury as tech, there's a lot. You have that 55-inch, call it wraparound screen, which is becoming a little derivative. I mean, there's a lot of brands that do that now.
At the same time, I kind of like Cadillac's execution of it. Like it's the same setup as the Lyric, isn't it? So it has that.
No, it's different.
Oh, it isn't.
It goes all the way across my guy.
Yeah, and the thing is, the thing is, it's like one of those.
It does
things
the Lincoln
where,
thing,
but the Lincoln thing, as like these are sharper screens.
Yeah,
but from a functionality perspective, I think Lincoln has more.
Have you had one of the? I can't remember. Have you had a Lincoln with the?
I had the,
you had the Nautilus, the same one I did. Yeah, the one that I didn't like. Yeah.
But I think the functionality of the screens are a little bit better in the Lincoln.
I'd like to revisit it. Yeah,
you can kind of you can like place things better across the screens. Mm-hmm. Whereas this one, it feels like it's the typical sort of. It's like 2+1 screen,
Yeah.
where the third screen is that passenger screen, which nobody finds useful at all. And that's not a knock on Cadillac. It's third screens are useless.
And I do appreciate it with the Lincoln setup. As much as I don't love these ultra wide wraparound whatever things, it's totally seamless. Or at least you'd be hard pressed to track them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Oh no, because there's one right in the middle. That's what it is. It's a split right dead in the middle of the car. That's what it was, I think. Yeah.
They integrated well. This one is definitely like 2+1.
Yeah.
The Lyrics was integrated quite well too, but again, that's the previous setup.
Yeah, it's not all the way across.
But yeah, so
Three-quarters. It's three-quarters away. But with that one, I couldn't pick up on any seams at all.
Yeah.
The old setup.
But yeah, but like the tech is there. So you open the door, you got the powered running boards. The thing is, when you open the door, they're powered also, which is like, if you want to feel fancy,
Fucking Rolls Royce.
yeah, you like literally push the button and the door fully swings open.
Nice.
And swings shut. And if you're on chauffeur duty, you can open any of the doors from the driver's seat.
Thanks for that from the airport, buddy. Appreciate that. that was a cool touch.
I literally did that for her. I was like, you walked up to the car and I'm like, swipe, and the door opened.
Yeah, that was pretty tough.
Yeah. So if you want that feeling of, red carpet luxury, like that kind of, from a tech perspective, it works. Obviously you have GM Super Cruise, which is fantastic. The interior quality is a little questionable in my opinion. Everything, there was no rattles or anything like that. Most surfaces felt good, but I think they use like an engineered wood trim.
Really?
Yeah, I'd have to double check that. But regardless,
An Escalade. That's very surprising.
It was the same grain in the previous ones.
so
At a glance, it looks nice.
yeah, but I feel I maybe it's because I'm turning partial to sort of the non-glossy wood that some companies are now introducing or have for the last few years, but it felt a little plasticky to me. It looked a little plasticky to me.
Gotcha.
And even like tapping on it felt a little hollow. I know that's not like a natural movement that someone would do, but it just like felt a little thin and hollow. Like I didn't expect that in $150,000+ SUV. Like if I'm thinking, like obviously the last Range Rover I had was more expensive, but the interior felt noticeably more premium.
Yeah. And then just like little like GM things like switch gears, like, oh, that's from this, or just like this is a very rush critique. But since he said it, I can't unhear it now. Fonts. Details.
So you know what? That is a thing that's always bothered me about GM products, and I'm gonna pin it to my 1991 Chevy Cavalier trauma, but yeah, it's like the font doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel premium.
I know that.
And it's too samey. Like differentiate. Like you've gone to some length to differentiate this product from the GMCs and the Chevrolets.
Yeah.
Why not that extra little step?
I think that's what it is, and that's what kind of makes it still feel like. My overall thought of this Escalade is that it's a nice product, but it still just feels like it is a premium GM product, but it feels like a premium Chevrolet and or GMC.
Instead of a Cadillac, like it doesn't
that's
the identity.
That's the feeling that I get. But I mean, I can't complain about. It's still nice that it's got a big honking V8.
Hell yeah, brother.
The 6.2.
Who needs a V8?
I mean, it was a Benz. They'd slap a 2-liter in something that weighs like 7,000 pounds.
They're in a post V8 world.
Yeah, like I think, I don't know. Like its nearest competitors, you had the Lincoln Navigator.
No, I didn't.
You didn't? I thought you had the Navigator.
I had the last Navigator.
Oh, okay.
But that was on the old layout. They're on a new layout now.
Yeah.
This one had like way less screen, and that's what I liked so much about it.
Right.
I don't love Lincoln's ultra wide setup. And when I got into the Escalade, the first thing I noticed was, oh fuck, they're doing this stupid ultra wide shit. And so not only is it like the dash spanning screen, there's also a separate littler screen to control the big screen and climate control and other shit.
Yeah.
Did it have a knob too, or did they lose a?
No, there's a knob as well.
There's a knob as well. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I feel like as everyone moves towards more screen, everything looks more samey and less nice.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And that could be part of why I'm a little meh on the Escalade is because it does feel like more of the samey as opposed to, I thought, I'm getting into an Escalade and it's, 150K plus, this thing's going to be wild. And you get in and it's like, wait, this is the Lincoln Nautilus. Yeah. And it's a little bit, it's a little bit of that, right? Yeah. And then also like some of the GM-ness, like you were saying, like the fonts, or that MMI dial, this sounds really nitpicky. But when you push it down, it has this very cheap feeling click, right? And
Same thing with a Lyric.
Yeah, and the thing is that it sounds ridiculous, but these things
such
matter.
A small thing. Like such a small thing.
Like I remember back in the day when Lexus, I know they still do it, but they actually advertise like their volume knob being like stepless, like a premium home theater receiver, right? And that kind of stuff matters to me because they're like the touch points that you feel, right? And so every time I would like grab that MMI knob, I was like irritated.
Yeah, but bro, what do you care? The whole fucking screen is a touch thing now. You have a way bigger touch point. Just touch that more.
My arms are not that long.
Also fingerprints.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's the worst. But yeah, so it just like it just didn't do it for me overall. Not to say it's a bad product. It is certainly not. And I could see the appeal, but if it was my money, I'd stick to a Yukon Denali. I also, as of right now at least, the Yukon still has a more traditional interior. And I don't know.
Updated slightly, a little more screen, but
quite a bit more screen.
Like 17.3 inch one, right?
Yeah, but it's square. Like there's a Sony Trinitron in the dashboard.
It's not like 16 by 9. It's literally square.
I think it's 4 by 3 or 3 by 2. So like it's pretty square looking.
Nice. But yeah,
8 by 9. The ratio is 8 by 9.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That is very square.
Yeah, nice. A Trinitron in your dashboard.
Nice.
8 by 9. I was like, that's 4 to 3. No, it's not.
Yeah, that's why I said that. I can't do math. Yeah, that's why I said that. Shut the fuck up.
All right, do we have 5 minutes for the SQ5?
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
What the hell's going on with a logo on the SQ5 now? Oh my god.
SQ5 is a compact crossover SUV produced by Audi.
Yeah.
And the SQ5 is a performance variant of it. Imran had it last week.
So just to be clear, this is the all-new 2025 SQ5 not the 2025 SQ5. So for some reason, Audi decided.
Wow. Congratulations.
Audi decided that there's 2 versions of the 25.
Yeah, why not?
SQ5 for some reason. I don't know why they didn't just brand the new one at 26. But regardless, it's the all-new SQ5.
It makes sense that Porsche is doing it in selling the Macan Electric alongside the gas Macan.
Sure, yeah.
That makes sense. I cannot fathom why they're selling 2 versions of the same SQ5.
With different styling.
With different styling.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Anyway,
and yeah, I just find that this new version, there's definitely some good. I think the gripes about the interior quality kind of going downhill are a little bit overstretched. Yes, there's some cheaper plastics that you wouldn't expect in a typical Audi.
Who hasn't done it though?
But, well, yeah, exactly. And I feel like they were very masterful in where it went.
Yep.
And I still get that premium feel that Audis are sort of known for.
Yep.
It felt nice.
Yeah, so I thought that was fine.
I like the Alcantara trim. I like the carbon fiber trim in it.
Yeah.
I think all those things, all the touch points you regularly interact with feel nice.
Yeah, and one of the things that I always love about Audis is I love their steering wheel design from the actual... I know there's issues with the airbag cover, but the actual wheel itself, I love how they're thin rim, they're perforated, they're not overly cushioned. They have this sort of like old school steering wheel feel to it, which I like.
Yeah. But it's a Squircle.
Yeah, the Squircle I'm not necessarily a fan of. Hello, C8 Corvette.
Really?
But...
I didn't notice a Squircle.
You didn't?
I did not notice.
Well, it's not C8 level, but it's definitely a Squircle. And they avoided, even though they do have 3 screens, they avoided a what do you call it? A screen that just spans from left to right. So they have this kind of sort of big curved 2-screen infotainment gauge cluster.
I like that.
It's kind of the same, like, sort of like inverted trapezoid thing that Buick is doing, but like.
Yeah, there is actually I saw a meme on the internet about it that it looks very much like a Buick.
Oh, really?
Something.
I hadn't seen that. I was just trying to think who else is doing that.
No, it's like very similar.
Lexus kind of too. That's kind of peculiarly shaped.
To an extent. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But yeah, and then they have that third passenger screen that's a separate screen entirely and like visually. So that looks good. I still think the third screen's optional. There's no use for it whatsoever.
An option you do not tick. I find it just makes the whole thing look really tacky.
Yeah, I agree. But again, as far as 3 screens go, I think they integrated it quite well. And they're a little bit different. In terms of its like styling cues, I think the old one looked a little sportier, a little more aggressive. It was more chiseled. This one spent a little time in the sun and kind of got a little softer on the edges. But it's still good looking, but I just find like it doesn't have the aggressiveness that the last generation had.
I get that.
And then in terms of drive, it's an S model, but it doesn't feel particularly sporty to me. It feels quick. It definitely pushes like an Audi does.
It's surprisingly quiet.
It's very quiet. So I refuse to believe this because I don't know why this would be because it's the same powertrain, but I swear it's quieter than the last gen SQ5 from an exhaust or faux engine noise perspective. I've had seat time in the last one. Like a good buddy of mine has one, so I've had quite a bit of seat time, and it just felt so much rowdier to me. I don't know why that would be, because there is no RSQ5, so this is their full bore sporty one, and it just felt very safe, very wonderful highway commuter. I was on the highway going to Bowmanville, did over 100 kilometers each way, and you can soak up miles in that thing, no problem, which is why I think it'll sell like hotcakes.
Yep.
I think it'll do really well. I just think it's a very safe product. Unlike something like the X3M, which is technically a competitor.
Yep.
M50, which does cost more.
Yep. But you also get much more performance with that thing.
Significantly more performance. It is a newer design language. I mean, we're a little lukewarm-ish on it, but it's grown on me.
And you get more way more theatrics out of it. It's way more dynamic.
It feels like it's in a completely different league.
I was impressed, like in the short drive with the SQ5. That's like, I don't know how they made something that like it felt good. It drove good. It feels like everything feels good. Yeah. It's just like zero drama.
Yeah, and it's
zero.
Like it feels like again Audi. Like this is like you make good products. You do. But it's like you don't make products that necessarily stand out. They're just really good, competent products, right?
Yeah, but
unlike
maybe people don't want to stand out.
I think I won't get into the S3, but that kind of I felt like bucked the trend of Audi and made something fun. But yeah, the SQ5 just needs a little more of that fun factor. And then also from a price perspective, it's like this one was the Technic, which was 81 and change. It undercuts both Mercedes and BMW's competitors. But my dark horse is the Genesis GV70.
Might do.
I think that product's great. You'll save $5,000-$6,000.
Yep.
I think it's a little more special.
Yep.
Sure, you don't have the heritage of the Audi brand, but I think it looks the part, both inside and out. Similar performance, I'd say.
Yep. That's exactly my pick too. Like if you're looking X3 versus GV70, I would as much as I like the GV70, I'd grit my teeth and go for the X3.
Yeah.
But GV70 and SQ5, like GV70 hands down.
Yeah. Nathan, I think you have a different dark horse.
Remind me?
It's Swedish.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that, weren't we? Yeah.
We did.
Volvo, man.
Mm-hmm.
Either the XC40 or the XC60.
What's the XC60 priced at?
That's, you know what? You boys talk. I'm going to look that up really fast. Because the last XC60 I had, I was head over heels in love with. That has the best powertrain.
It's like 85-ish for the T8. So you're pushing like, what, 442 horsepower.
455 horsepower, 523 foot-pounds of torque. So way more performance.
Yes. Actually, yeah.
And it's also a plug-in with an actual usable range.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's Volvo design, and like, come on.
And it looks great inside and out.
And it's like it's Volvo's old design language, which is quite tidy.
Mm-hmm. And I think, like, if you actually think about it, Volvo, whether it is in reality or not, is probably a closer competitor to Audi than BMW and Mercedes. BMW and Mercedes love the theatrical, love the showiness of it. They're more for, let's say, expressive personalities.
Yep.
Whereas Audi is a little more understated, as is Volvo. Heck, their design language is very similar on the exterior too, right?
Very clean, very tidy lines between the two. I'd probably give the nod to the Volvo in terms of visuals.
It's a Volvo, man. They're the most handsome cars.
Yeah.
So the last one we had was like pretty close to decked. It only lacked like the last Polestar performance pack thing with adjustable Olins and stuff, which is kind of overkill on a crossover, but also fucking really sick. It was 91 grand. And in that realm of like mid-high 80s, it's 10 more than the Audi, so I could maybe save a couple options to get there. But
probably.
That's what I do, man. I love that thing. It's just so much more and nicer to me.
Yeah.
I love the Volvo thing.
I don't think I drove the XC60.
Have you driven a Volvo?
Yeah.
It drives like that.
You drive one of them, you drive them all.
Yeah, and I like them. And that's what got me thinking that, like, this is probably the closest to Audi in terms of competition. But I guess, like, we're realizing that, I mean, it is one of the cheaper priced alternatives in this space. It doesn't, obviously have as much power as the XC60 or the X3M. And maybe not as many theatrics as the Benz counterpart, but it kind of falls into the value quotient of the scale, just like the GV70, which GV70 wins that, but
absolutely,
but it's more on that side than it is on hey, I want the best of the best.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like you're losing anywhere. It's a nice product that drives very well and is fast.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like if I didn't know anything else, I'd be completely content.
Yeah.
But, if you drive the X3M and you're into the fun, you'd be like, whoa, right? So, yeah, again, a little lukewarm, but solid product overall. I just wish they'd take a little bit more risk.
Yeah.
Checks out.
Yeah, that's that.
And on that note, that takes us to the end of this week's episode.
Can I go with my lunch now?
No.
But it's upstairs getting cold.
Too bad. Thank you all for thank you all
Show
for
sucks.
Hey, you can't say that. Thank you all for tuning in. You can keep tabs on our automotive misadventures at doubleclutch.ca on socials. Imran, it is great to have you back in studio.
See you next week. Maybe.
Is Imran going to join next week? We will see. Who knows?
Tune in to find out.
Nathan's definitely probably going to be here next week, so yeah.
Am I?
Are you?
I think I'm out on a thing. I'm on the expedition thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Damn.
Someone will be here.
Someone will be here. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, and on that note, thank you all for tuning in, and thanks for joining.
Say it. Say the thing.
Thanks
for listening, Nathan's mom.
Well, I guess I will.
I already said it, dude. You don't have to say it again.
Well, now you already said it.
See you next week, guys.